Alright. Yo, back again. Like I said, I was gonna say a video about explaining grid. I just want to get this out of the way so I can do it in the future. Um, Depending on the country of what you are, the numerical value of grid can change. In the US, from what I know, grids have starting from the lowest number from 0 to 100. The lower the number is, the harder the surface is, and the higher the surface of the grid, the finer it is. In other words, the lower number, the coarser it is. In terms of waxing, sanding, polishing, and stuff like that, like what I was using earlier. Here we go. Here's an example. Great. Fun stuff. You can look at these three items. I had to clean them. Yeah, I know. But you can look at these three items and they have different grit categories. This is the hardest grit right here out of these three, so it's going to be on lower number. The surface pretty hard, and this is going to be between them. It's not that hard. This grit might be about, what was it, 100. And this is like for mostly polishing or waxing. The grit on this is higher because it's finer. Sometimes the terminology can change behind grit in the field you're doing. This, in grit terms, is mostly an item to sharpen an object. Like, usually all this is right here is just rocks crushed into fine powder. And depending on how well it crushed and sprayed and stuff, it is then sprayed on in such a way that it is level out where it can, you know, grind into stuff. And this right here is just ultimately just kind of yarn or string tied into such a way it can stick together in such a shape that it can wax or strip depending on what you're doing. Uh, in other words, the easier term to put it is in terms of sanding, waxing, polishing, uh, what is it, fluxing, and grinding. Um, I'm not going to use the term of grit. I'm going to use soft to hard. Usually, you want a harder surface when you want to level something out, like the meaty part of it. You want a harder substance to level it out. And then once you want to clean the top of it out, you usually want to use a soft surface. Um, like I just explained with my other videos, and when I used to have my car, plan on getting one. There was a dent like this big. The way I got it out was using an item on the side that isolated force in and then sucked the force out. But the problem was it was still dent and it had scratch on it. Even after I got a nail surface, there was still scratch on it. And since it's a carb, I had to use a power washer or power washer to spray the paint around it, and then I use a sander to scrape any paint off and try to level the surface as possible, and then I clean the surface, and then with polish, and then after I polish the surface to a new clean shine, I then waxed it to add another coat of paint, and then I put primer paint, I put spray paint on it, and then I smooth the paint around the surface with a polish that had was almost similar to the surface that was more closer because I needed to level and blend it in, and then I polished further out to blend the paint in. To you, can't tell the difference. That's basically what you got to do. You got to be careful with doing stuff like that, because even if you're polishing, you're taking surface of the material off. You can polish wood, you can sand metal and plastic and stuff like that. You are taking stuff off of it. So in order to ease it out, you must put a some type of compound or material on it as you do it, and always clean the item you're using out, or that item you're sanding or polishing or waxing whatever out. It's no different than the waxing floors. You gotta clean the floor. You gotta clean the floor. You gotta clean the floor again, and then you gotta use a stripper on the floor, and then you gotta strip the floor with the buffer, and then after you strip it, you gotta clean the strip material out completely, then clean it again. And then you put polish down, then you put the polished surface on the buffer, then you polish that surface, then you polish it again, and then you polish, then you level it. Congrats. Good times. Professional gents around these points. Anyway, grits. Bye.